Okay, from a place of life mastery. So imagine that the goal of this existence is to master your life. It means that everything that we're encountering, instead of looking at it from the 3, 4 dimensional space, from the psychodramas that are going on, from the place of the matrix, we look at it from another dimension, which is really the dimension of the spirit. We come into incarnation on this planet as human beings, and then I believe that one of the greatest goals or intention that we can have as human beings is to wake the fuck up, is to wake up, to go back to a state of realization, self-realization. And so the spirit of Tantra, I believe that the spirit of Tantra is a pathway of awakening, of life awakening, of individual awakening that allows us to go back to source and realize the full dimension of who we are. And in the process of doing that, we are going to face challenges in this existence. Some of the challenges are going to have to do with our body, with our health. It will have to do with money and finding resources and grounding ourselves on this planet. Or the challenges will have to do with our minds, the way we use them, the thought patterns, the emotions that we are facing, being in states of depression maybe, or in states of, emotional anger or rage or uncontrolled states. Another aspect of the challenge that we can face have to do with relationships, with coupling, with our sex life. So this is the way I look at Tantra. The reason why we're starting really, really vast is to understand that there are dynamics at play that are there to wake us up. One of the fundamental differences between yoga and Tantra, I believe in my reality, it is that yoga focuses way, way more on the light. If you are on your yoga mat and you are having a tantrum, you are having an emotional outbreak, you start crying and shaking and all that is happening, most probably the teacher will come to you and ask you to leave the room. That release or that emotion is not okay in the space. Go back to your asana. So the fundamental difference, I believe, with Tantra, or at least the way I approach it, it is that with Tantra, we welcome the shadows. What this means is that when there is a shadow outbreak, instead of feeling uncomfortable with that shadow outbreak, and we're going to focus a little bit just on the emotion of anger, okay, because it makes it simple to have a pathway, but you have dozens of challenging emotions. So when there is a shadow outbreak, what do? We tend to run away most of the times. It's like that makes us feel uncomfortable. So within the field of Tantra, or the field that I design, or that I encourage, or that I sponsor, when shadows emerge, we go, great, shadow, there is juice, there is energy, let's use that energy as a prayer form, as a meditation form. We are going to engage into the world, into the interactions that are happening right there, and use that energy, use that emotion that is rising, the potential emotion of rage and anger because something said to you something that you don't like. And then you are going to use that consciously within a sacred container. You create really a temple space to release and use that emotion forward. So have you experienced this kind of emotions in your life? Situations where you go like, what the fuck is going on? Why is it that I cannot stay centered? I lose control. And then especially when it comes to relationships and sex life and dating life, this is going to be an amazing, amazing training ground for awakening. And you see in my voice, I'm really, really excited about that, because we completely miss opportunities to actually wake up within that context. If we were understanding the dynamics that are happening and why those challenges are happening according to this reality, this is one perspective that I give you. There are lots of frequencies that we can tune in to describe a certain event, but from that angle, I go like, this is a massive, powerful opportunity to wake up. And so we are going now to start slowly moving towards very specific situation. So the specific situation is this. You are a man and you have a girlfriend or a partner who is going to be intense, projecting intensity in your field. So if you are a woman right now and you are watching this webinar, you can completely mirror the situations, okay? I created this program which is called Master Her Shadows, but I'm preparing another one which is going to be Master His Shadows. Master the shadows of your partner, because this can be completely mirrored between genders, also if you are gay, if you are straight, so the dynamics that I'm describing right now, the reason why I make them so gender specific, it's because it's a little bit more easier to explain, and also because in my field, when I started designing these techniques, they were related with the fact that I had lots of brothers, men in the field, who were really triggered and unable to deal with the intensity that the women were projecting in their fields. So this is why I'm making it right now really gender specific, but realize that we can really generalize it. And I'm making it even more specific to a certain type of shadow so that we can really navigate all that. So the shadow that I'm talking about is a certain degree of intensity, anger, rage, frustration, triggers that are being projected on you as a man from a woman who is an alpha woman, powerful woman, just kicking your ass and really making you feel miserable. So I would like to take a little pause right here, and if you're watching this webinar, just take a white page or something you can write down on, and write down like 3 challenges, core challenges that you are facing in your relationship right now. And again, you can make it even more specific, challenges that are coming from your partner. We're not going to start blaming, we're not going to start projecting. There are 3 challenges that you could write about what you are projecting, the shadows that you're projecting in your relationship towards your partner. But right now we are going to focus on simply the situation where the attacks are coming from your partner. So think about situations that you have been facing either in your present relationship or in past relationships, or even situations that you have witnessed in your social circle, with friends, or with potential clients, or in work situations that would be considered as abusive or intense emotions or something like that. So 3 very specific situations so that you can start kind of nailing and focusing on what are the possible strategies to actually master that specific shadow outbreak. See, I'm using very specific technologies. A shadow outbreak, it means that there is a wave of energy hitting your couple or your relationship that is going to create an overflow of energy in your partner, and then eventually that creates, it comes in the form of anger or an attack on your system, which can be a complaint, an attack, a judgment. Sometimes the level of intensity is at 5-6%, sometimes it's at 90%. It might be an outbreak that completely knocks you out and really is going to have this level of intensity that your system is not trained to take. So here is another term or another way of looking at it, which is important, is one of my friends who was describing the intensity of this woman that he was dating, and he goes like, I am not energetically, emotionally equipped to deal with this shit. I have no idea what to do. The moment she starts screaming at me, I just want to run away. I don't know what to do. I try to calm her down. I try all the possible things but I'm not equipped. I don't have the tools and the energy and the vision, or I don't know what to do. Shiva, help me. So this is the context in which we are. If you have been exposed to fights in your relationship and you are in the middle of an intense fight, you go like, what's going on? I don't know what to do. So if we look at that within the context and within the perspective of life mastery, those attacks or those shadow outbreaks are gifts, okay? The core shift that you can make in your mind is, instead of being resentful to the experience, instead of being like collapsing, right? The typical immature response from a man who is exposed to intense shadow, it's going to be, your shoulders go down, so there is a collapse of your energy, there is a victimization. I cannot believe this is happening again. I cannot take it anymore. This has been going on for like weeks, and you might be sharing with a friend, and this is the emotion. It's like, I am a victim of my girlfriend, my wife, or my partner. She's blasting the shit out of me and I don't know what to do. So that's a collapse emotion, right? A second type of emotion is like a dignity emotion. Your girlfriend is like going full on into an energetic emotional attack. You go like, wow, looks like there are some strong emotions here in the field, right, today. So you see, you are like, you don't collapse, you dignify, you raise your vibration, you go like, and then how you're going to respond next, you have different strategies, but one way could be like, wow, it looks like there is some serious trigger in the field right now. Why don't we sit down and you tell me exactly what's going on? I'm going to set up the timer. I give you 5 minutes to share what's happening. After that, I really have to go. But right now, I love the fucking juice that's happening in your system. It feels so fucking sexy. It feels exciting to be exposed to that. I love it when you are in intensity. So you see, just in my field, it took me probably like 6 months to be able to say that to the partner, to the woman I was dating at that time. Before that, it would be like victimization, collapse. It's like your system just wants to run away. And at some point, the dignity comes out and you meet her. This is what's happening. You meet her with your dark masculine, okay? Instead of being this new age guy lost into everything is light and beauty, you go like, no, warrior time. This is warrior time. I'm going to show up like a ninja and navigate the whole shadow outbreak, the whole wave of energy that has been projecting at me. Masterfully, I'm going to master this shit, okay? So it's a completely different response. Instead of getting blasted and wiped out by this wave, you go like, skillfully catch the wave, and then you start surfing it. And you notice that when you are surfing or you are performing anything, any form of art, or you are riding a wild stallion in the plains of Africa, this needs to be an art form. It's not a linear thing. It's not like I can give you right now, here are the 3 techniques that you must apply. Here is how you're going to communicate. Well, yeah, fuck it. Sometimes those communication tactics are going to work. Sometimes it's going to be, don't give me this bullshit, She's going to wipe out into your face the traumas and all the fears that are accumulated in her system. And, you cannot necessarily going linear with it. Mansplaining in those situations, can be interesting to you because you're like, oh yeah, I have you figured out. The reason why you're projecting these traumas in my field is because years ago you were dating this friend, this guy, and that guy was an asshole to you, so now you're an asshole to every man. No, so the mansplaining, rationalizing things can be interesting, but there is a variation or a possibility of techniques that you can apply that is way, way vaster than that. When I start researching and I start tapping into it, 20 ways to de-escalate the fight, 20 ways to respond when she's getting aggressive with you. So it's really important to understand that it's an art form. It's not just something linear. The best way to become really good at it is to train a lot, okay? To be exposed to a woman who is going to be precisely into her full rage or full alpha power, so that it forces you to activate this dark masculine inside of you and be able to navigate it with fun and pleasure and authority. So the reason why she's projecting that, when we talk about waking up, what is she trying to wake up inside of you? What do you think she's trying to wake up inside of you? She's trying to wake up your fucking truth. your power. She wants to feel you grounded on this planet. One of my first shadow trainers, a woman who came into my life in my 20s, I had been meditating for like years. I was like 7 years. By the time I met her, I was in sometimes meditation journeys, which were like 12 hours of meditation a day. I was like, I own the spiritual reality. I really know how to navigate that. And then she comes into my field and she goes like, so you think you're smart, eh? You think you can do this? I mean, she didn't say that to me literally. I don't think she was aware of the role that she was playing in my life. But basically, that's what I felt coming into my field. And then, oh my God, she kicked my ass. She annihilated me for like an entire year. I was like down trying to recover the broken pieces of my being because I was enslaved to her, completely in love. To her, she would disappear out of my field. My system would just collapse. I would go like, what's going on? I have no idea what's happening. The reason why I had no idea what was happening is because I had no shadow vehicle. My shadow vehicle was not activated. My dark masculine was not activated. I was a really powerful snag. Sensitive, being able to navigate all that, understanding the concepts of spirituality, singing for hours, mantras and beauty and all that. But when it came to challenges and came to having foundations that allow me to anchor my power on this planet, I was, I had some tools, but I didn't realize I had such a gap. So after getting blasted by her, the process of rebuilding myself was rebuilding myself with really solid foundations. It was invoking the power of Kali, welcoming the power of the dark feminine into my field, and really activating this warrior energy inside of me, the wild man that could actually face this woman straight in the eyes and be like, I fucking love your beauty. I love the shadow that you're projecting inside of me. I want to welcome that into my life because this is what makes you human. The moment you have to protect your kids and defend them against an invader, you have the power. You will have my back on the battlefield. This is why I love your shadows. This is why I love the dark feminine, the power of the warrior goddess who is able to go and cut people's heads on the battlefield. Because there is going to be a point where when this battle comes to a reality, she will be right there next to me as a warrior, the powerful warrior, being able to hold my back. So this woman comes into my field, she's going to test me. She's going to be, you've got the balls, you've got the foundation. What are you? You are just like wind. I blow on you, I just say something nasty to you and you collapse in victimization. You're like a child. Wake the fuck up. I don't want to have a child next to me. I need a warrior. I need somebody who is going to protect my children. You see, this is the foundation of the reason why she's going to challenge us. This is why she's going to be like, no, I'm not taking you unless you are in your truth, unless you are in your power, unless you can tell me what you want. And so this is why she becomes my shadow trainer. And the way she's going to do that is by testing my emotional ability to deal with storms, with emotional storms. So let's take a moment to pause in there. Just close your eyes and feel into that. We are completely reframing these experiences and glorifying them. We want to come back to this place of truth and understand the bigger picture of what this process of incarnation is. You meet the lights, you meet the shadows, and the goal is to master all realities. So take a deep breath and anchor it into your field, into your system. Feel what's going on right here. The goal is this. The goal is to master all aspects of existence. If you are a master of light, that's great. That's a great, great start, okay? I'm not disqualifying this. But if you have no idea how to navigate the shadows, especially the shadows within relationships, then that's a pity. So let's take this one step further. Awakening and mastery. Again, within the Tantric temple, we are looking at it from the place where there is a spirit that is sponsoring these experiences. When I met my previous shadow trainer, I had an experience for an entire year with a lover, and it was fantastic. It was intense and fiery, and we annihilated each other multiple times. And when I met her, it was very clear that she was a messenger of my spirit. My spirit, my energy reality was sending this woman to me with a very specific message. And again, the message was wake up. But when I saw her, I was like, oh my God, you are going to kick my ass. You are going to destroy me. And she was like, oh, I'm just sweet, you know, she's powerful, alpha, looking amazing, beautiful. All I wanted to do is just make passionate love to her. And she comes into my field with like this gentle sweetness. In the beginning, of course. She needs first to seduce me, to make me feel a little bit safe before the outbreaks start happening. And my system was like, I know what you're up to. This is going to be an amazing journey. Let's do this. So instead of running away, instead of being like, oh, no, I'm not. No, I was like, I know why this is happening. It's because there is a foundation and an aspect of my being that hasn't been fully grounded yet. There is an exploration to do, and I've got to go and meet my dragons. I've got to go and meet my demons. I've got to go and meet aspects of myself that are not going to open up unless I have this woman next to me, training me into facing certain shadows or certain emotions. And so the shadow training started. And the first blast I got from her, it took me 2 weeks to recover. And we were not even in the same country. You know, this was just through text message. The intensity of her power hitting me because I did something wrong. We are not going to go into the details, but the intensity of that attack completely, you know, I opened the messenger and my system was just shaking like an animal in fear, like when you have fireworks going on and there is the dog next to you is like, you know, that's the impact that it was having. So integrating that shadow outbreak or that shadow attack took me 2 weeks. Literally, it took me 2 weeks to get back to a state of peace. And so what I discovered is that, again, my system was not trained to integrate those energies. So think about that for a second, okay? The reason why we call an energy good or bad is just a mind construct. The only thing a woman does when she's screaming at you is giving you energy. She's giving you fire. That's what's happening. There is an exchange of energy happening right there. You are the receptor, polarizing that energy, and this fire is coming into your field. It's just a transmission of energy. When we label it as good or bad, shadow or light, that's our brain doing that. But deep inside, in the light of the spirit, it's just energy moving. Right? If you don't have the construct of the social construct, you go like, this is just energy moving. That's it. So instead of looking at it as something that is good or bad, you go like, it's just energy moving. And when it hits you, you go like, oh, that's a gift. You know, what is this gift supposed to do? This gift is supposed to burn me to the ground. It's supposed to burn everything that my system no longer needs. This energy is going to go and target the exact aspects of my ego that I no longer need. It's like a vitamin pill, an explosive vitamin pill that is going to go searching around within the realms of your mind and past and beauty and future and karma and dharma, and basically annihilate and destroy and burn to the ground what no longer serves you. This is not just a theory. This was a direct, powerful experience. This is how I experienced that fire. I go like, Goddess, hit me with your firewall. Hit me with your fire. I'm ready. So you go and you receive that fire, and then your system goes, oh yes, destroy me. Burn me to the ground. You probably were exposed to these teachings from Daniel Odier, right? He goes to the Himalayas, meets this female tantrika. I don't know if they were making love. I didn't read the full book, but basically she was blasting him over and over and over again for him to wake up, for him to find his ground. And when I went to the Himalayas, I was looking for a tantra teacher, a female tantra teacher. I go, I'm going to find somebody in a cave and go through life training, something like that. And I went over there. I didn't find them in the Himalayas, but then I come back. To to Bali, and one after the other, female shadow trainers coming to my field. And in the time that I've been here in Bali, I probably had 4 or 5 major female shadow trainers coming into my field. And each time I welcome them. I go like, I give you permission to challenge me. This is what I'm doing. And I could have run away really, really fast. You know, I could have been like, no, this is not for me. I've got things to do. I don't have time for this. No, because this is the process of awakening. This is what the tantric spiritual path can mean. It means that you are going to be consciously choosing challenges and aspects of shadows that are going to be projected in your field. And the moment they hit you, then that's part of the process. It's the download or the activation of these energies. Something else that is really important within what we are discussing here, it is that because you are lovers with your shadow trainer, you are lovers with this woman, this high intensity woman, because you are lovers with her, you open yourself really profound. If the love making is a profound experience and it's real, you know, she might have energy access to your being that she would not have otherwise. So this is an essential aspect of most of the shadow trainers I had in my life. Most of these women had access to my emotional system really, really profoundly, because we had been making love for hours and hours and hours. And so when the shadow hits, it's not just bouncing on the surface, it's going right to the core of your heart. I mean, you offer yourself to this woman, and then she goes like, now that I'm in the core, it's a little bit like a Trojan horse, right? It's like it comes inside the temple, it comes inside the city, and then the warriors and the fire come in, and the fire outbreaks, annihilate, destroy, burn down to the ground. And so this energetic or emotional access is really, really important. So the next thing we can check with that is, so what do? You know, as a man, you have the shadow outbreaks being projected to you. It's like, what are the strategies? I mean, what are the chords? If you want to learn the systems on how to navigate all that, what do you do? Is it just staying there and being blasted and, well, thank you for the emotional outbreak and yeah, give me more, you know, whatever. No, it's like, because it's a system. It's a little bit like when you're surfing the waves, you learn the different moves and you learn how to play with that. So there are a few techniques or a few strategies that are really, really important in that. And the first strategy is presence, not losing your shit, okay? So presence means like you feel it coming, you feel when it's there, and then instead of running away, you breathe and you take it in. Okay, so that's technique number 1. It's super, super important. Women love men who can stay present, right? You heard that before. And let me just check the notes over here. So a few more strategies. Another possible strategy is when it's not the right time. You know, sometimes your shadow trainer, this woman, is going to come into your field and attack you, and you go like, pause, stop. I got to go right now. I don't have time for this. I know that you have a trigger in your field. Let's do that tonight when I come back. Pause, stop. Okay, that's another strategy. It's a very valid strategy because you want to create a context. You want to be co-creators in this experience, not just a victim of it. Okay, it's not like, no, I'm going to set up some boundaries. So another boundary that I set up is like, don't fucking touch my body. Okay, don't break my bones. If you come at me physically, I'm out of here. So you can project all the emotional stuff and intensity that you want on me, but don't physically hit me. Don't touch me, okay? One time, one of my girlfriends did that. She went, you know, on my chest. I said, get out of here. We're done. That's it. So the reason why you put these boundaries is because you don't want this to be an escalation and leave karmic traces. You know, if I have got broken bones, how is this going to be useful for my evolution? It's not. So the second boundary is don't hurt yourself either. Don't start hitting the ground with your fist and break your hand. The third boundary, around the same thing with creating safety and protection, it is don't break anything in my house. Don't burn my house down. Okay, I need my temple here to be able to function. By the way, a lot of what I'm talking about happened right here in this beautiful space in Bali. I'm in the middle of the rice fields with farmers around, and this is the space in which I discovered a lot of many of these techniques and explorations. So another technique is to engage. You know, if she says something to you that sounds like, I'm so fucking angry with you right now, I could fucking punch you in the face, and you go like, oh great, so we are ready for a fight, right? Bring it on. And I'm going to match your energy. Everything you tell me back, everything you tell me, I'm going to reflect it back to you. You fucking bitch. You know, and you start raising your intensity. It's okay to raise this intensity. If you feel uncomfortable by what I just said, you know, imagine that right now we are raising the vibration and entering into what you can call shadowgasm, okay? Because there is some juice in there. And this is not being masochist, okay? It's just using the fire and the energy that is right there. It's like having a volcano next door over here, which was actually happening on Mount Agung a few years ago when part of this was happening. What a coincidence. Yeah, the elemental forces of nature are participating in all that. So when these emotions are rising, you've got to be able to hold them, you know, and to play with them. So matching her intensity and engaging. Another strategy is potentially to de-escalate. So de-escalating means that, listen, I can see that you're really upset. So here is what I suggest. I don't want to hear, just pause for a second. I'm going to sit down here. I'm going to set up the timer for 5 minutes, and I want you to tell me. You're going to blast me with whatever is alive inside of you. I'm not going to interrupt you, okay? Go. That's it. And then when she finishes, you go like, so what you are saying is that you feel neglected by me because I took off to an island and didn't tell you that I would be there. And then you would love if I could give you a warning or consider you in my choices. Is that correct? And she goes, yeah, you never listen to me. Yeah, I hear you. I totally agree. I see your point. If I was in your position, I would probably be upset as well. You see what's happening right now? We are calming down the nervous system, coming down to a place of peace. And then you go like, is this okay if I give you a hug? Come in my arms, come here, baby. And then, you know, she might start crying because the emotional outbreaks can be like rage and tears are very close to each other, like the emotional collapse. You know, sometimes you might have this woman who is raging in front of you and then suddenly she collapses on the ground. You know, because she will feel guilty about what's happening as well. So you see a little bit, now we start really navigating that with a place where we have all these different skills and toolbox. Another strategy is to deflect. So deflect means starting to tease her or starting to play, or I'm really hungry right now. Shall we go and get some food? We can talk about this later. I really want to hear what you have to say, but I'm like I really need to put some food on my system right now. Yeah, let's go and get some food, and you can tell me more on the way. Something like that. Another technique when you are really present and receiving this shadow outbreak is to release, and you can release by yourself. You know, you can start shaking, screaming, hitting some pillows, and different techniques. I will tell you more about that in another webinar. It's too vast to go into that. But basically, the idea of taking that energy and that emotion and those emotions and to release them into out of your system by going into nature. You know, what I do a lot is going into waterfalls nearby. I go into the jungle every day. I sing to Kali. I do mantras and breath work and shaking, you know, just shaking your body or breathing fire breath to get it out of your system. If you want to release emotions when you are, for instance, when you are laying down on your bed and you want to just get it out of your field and you feel like you cannot sleep, one of the techniques that works really well is you just open your mouth and you go into some form of breathwork journey. It's not pushing it, but you can simply open your mouth and maybe put a pillow under your back so that your chest is really wide open. See what's happening. It's like really opening the heart. And so how are you all feeling about all this? It's a lot of information. We just have 1 hour. There's much more to say about the topic, but you start feeling really the different pathways and possible branches that you can open up around all that. So part of the things that I do with a lover who might have a very high level or degree of intensity is to do energetic practices together, precisely going into the jungle, and instead of waiting for the shadow outbreak to kick in, instead of waiting for a trigger to come to the surface, we are going to create a field of energy that circulates a lot of the renewal power. And one of the best ways to do that is to call the force or the power of Kali. So the way I do that is with Kali Jaya, Kali Jaya, Kali Jaya, Kali Jaya. So when we are doing that, what we are doing, we're really creating the temple space of renewal, destruction and change power. We are really activating that together and positioning ourselves as lovers to the energy of Kali. We adore that energy and we bring it to our system. So what this does is that it harmonizes the energy between us, and really creates already this fire vehicle where we are circulating energy without needing a shadow outbreak. Okay, so you probably have some many questions. Let me check if there is another point that I didn't mention yet. Yeah, basically the idea is really to create this container of life mastery. Okay, you put that within perspective. The next thing that I want to say about everything that I shared here, we talked about intense shadows, right? Fiery shadows with fire, power, and intensity. So you have a whole range of shadows within that space. You have another set of shadows which are light shadows. For instance, when a woman is much more of a light train or a light feminine, and she comes up with shadows that are insecurity, depression, sadness, things like that, ignoring you or disconnecting, not being present with you, things like that. Those are not emotional energetic attacks, but they are another set of potential challenges that you might face, and the way to navigate that is another set of strategies. But that's part of your shadow training. Okay, so if you meet a woman, sometimes those outbreaks are not going to be explosive. Sometimes they're going to be what I call soft shadows. Okay? And the other thing that is really, really important that I just said already earlier, if you're a woman watching this, of course you can mirror all of that. The name for this seminar is Master Her Shadows. It could have been Master His Shadows. I have a bit more experience in navigating that from the male perspective because that's what I have been exposed to myself and because of the men that I've seen in my field. But I've got women coming into my field all the time that tell me, listen, here is what my boyfriend or partner is doing. What do I do with this? He's disconnecting, he's emotionally unavailable, he cheated on me, or all sorts of things. So those shadow outbreaks that are projected in your field, when you are a woman, then what you want is also to develop strategies to navigate all that. So I'm not saying at all that women are the ones who are always projecting. No, it goes both ways. And so put it within context, realize that mastering your shadows, mastering their shadows is an art form. If you want to dive into it, you can play with it. Next thing which is really important is that you don't have to do it. Okay, for instance, with the relationships that I had, I could have stepped out any time and be like, I'm done with this. This is not for me. I'm going another way. This is a little bit like exploring a new land. Somebody says, well, let's go and cross the Himalayas on foot. You can say, wow, the challenge is a bit too hard for me. So not everybody is going to be fit to engage into the kind of challenges and life mastery pathways that I'm describing. Sometimes your pathway will be different. Sometimes there is another destiny line that awaits you, and you go like, no, I don't have time to go and deal with this. This is too much drama. I don't see why I would do it, and it's not a match for me. And that's perfectly okay. It's a little bit like practicing yoga. Not everybody wants to practice yoga. Some people want to practice martial arts. Some people want to surf. Some people want to climb mountains. So it's okay. This, what I'm giving you right now, is like an overview of, almost like a spiritual science that I discovered. And the moment I started unveiling all that, oh my God, all that makes sense. Everything is coherent. The reason why this is happening is because there is a certain dynamic or a certain intention, and there are certain things that we try to do. So keep that within perspective, okay? It's like everything that I'm giving you right here is optional. This is not a doctrine. You do what you want with it. If you want to reframe, rephrase, change, modify, you do what you want with it. This is the result of years and years of exploration for me. And maybe part of the information that you receive here might be useful to you, okay? So it's really an open invitation. There is absolutely no pressure to be like, oh, if you are a man and you want to grow balls and you want to become an alpha, this is what you have to go through. No, you might have other pathways. You might have a really sweet wife or partner who is gentle with you all the time. This doesn't mean that you have to break up with her to find yourself a shadow trainer, okay? That's not what I'm saying at all. It's like, if those experiences are coming to your field and you wonder what's going on, the frames that I'm giving you here might be useful to understand why is this happening? Why do I keep on attracting this kind of women or this type of men? Okay, can we just have a quick check on the time? I don't see the time right now on here. Okay, 15 minutes left. So let's check on the questions that have been posted there so that we can check a little bit what's in people's minds. You would like to do that? You have to check Daniel Odier. I don't remember the name of the book, but I think it's just called Tantra. And I can post the name later in the link. Tantric Journey. Okay, what else? So what you can do is exactly what I have been describing for the situation of the man. So if you are a woman and you see the male's shadow coming to the surface, just being the sweet wife might not make it. What you need to be able to access is the power of the dark feminine if you want to hold space for the dark masculine, you've got to be able to match the energy level. So if you meet a man who is really bad boy, or comes up with shadows to you, there is a part of this warrior inside of you that needs to be able to rise to the surface. So the warrior energy inside of you, the typical energy that I use is, again, it's the power of Kali. I see the world, and most of the times when I meet a woman or I have a client, I go like, if your level of Kali power inside of you was higher than where it is right now, how much Kali energy you have inside of you, if it was higher, probably 90% of the challenge that you're facing right now, emotional insecurities, trouble, people crossing your boundaries, stuff like that, they would not happen because Kali would be a protector in your field. So it would be activating this level of warrior, female, wild woman inside of you that would protect your field. So when a man comes into your field and challenges you with that, instead of being like, how can I change him? What can I do? What's wrong with him? This is like the 3-4 dimensional story. It's like we are in the stories of relationships. Nobody, it's like within that reality, you're not going to find the deep, profound answer. The real profound answer that you can find within the tantric space, again, here we are talking about people who are interested in the tantric field and being tantrikas and tantric masters. So you look at this man and you go like, wow, thank you for showing me my weaknesses. Thank you for showing me the places where I'm not actually strong enough to hold you or to have a response to what you're saying. For instance, if a man crosses your boundaries and becomes sexually intimate with you when you don't want to, you've got to push that energy and that fire that says, stop it. My body is my temple. Nobody comes in without my permission. You see, it forces you to access this fire that you will not access otherwise. So you have lots of possible shadows that you can face, but here is an example. So if you ask that question, maybe give me the exact behavior or the exact shadow that your partner is projecting on you, and I will give you a couple more tips. Okay, what other questions do you have? Yeah, matching the intensity. So again, we have examples of of fire and power, right? We go back to this energy of anger and rage that your partner is projecting on you. So again, I'm a man. This woman is getting really intense with me, and she starts screaming at me, and I scream back. I go like, ah! And she goes like, fucking asshole, and I go, fucking bitch. And so you go like, what? How does that help? Well, it helps because instead of avoiding the experience, I'm actually building that fire. We are having a peak experience right there. I can give you dozens of examples where I saw my girlfriend going into intensity, and I look at her and I match her energy level, and she's like, surprise! She goes like, oh, he's showing up, And then what we enter into that degree of intensity, and you go around. And, if you take that one step further, you enter into what I call a fight-gasm or a shadow-gasm. It means that at some point in this level of intensity, the separation and the friction dissolves. The reason why we are entering into intensity is because there is friction. There is friction between her energy reality and my energy reality. So when this intensity starts rising, guess what happens? At some point, there's so much pressure that the walls dissolve, and then suddenly, poof, we just blast into bliss. So I had multiple orgasm-like experiences related with shadow fights and with shadow intensity. So this is the alchemy and the magic that we're not usually tapping into. When I was first exposed to a shadow-gasm or a fight-gasm, I was suffering. I was like, what's going on? Why is no. And then I engaged, and then suddenly we started building up, and within 5 minutes, poof, and then we looked at each other, and all we could feel was this field of love. We blasted into bliss. So there is an access to light in every shadow. This is the thing to understand. It is that those shadows are not here to make you suffer, or sometimes they are, but it's not because there is something wrong with nature or with human existence. It's because there is something right We are just not getting it. We are avoiding the challenge instead of facing it. Okay, so this is an example. There are many more examples where matching the energy level is going to be the right strategy. I don't always use it, I might use it maybe 20% of the time. If I don't feel like it, I go like, no, I'm just going to listen to what you have to say and de-escalate. Most of the times I use de-escalation techniques. So if my girlfriend comes to me and she's like, she starts a fight, she's triggered, I say, listen, I fucking adore you. You're beautiful. I love every aspect of who you are, and I have no desire to fight with you. I don't have the energy for it, and come into my arms, and if this is where you want to go right now, I'm going just to take off, and I'll see you tomorrow, okay? That's it. So I'm not holding space for her emotions right there. So sometimes that's the right strategy. I've been using that one over the last couple of years multiple times, and it's fantastic because it saves us lots of trouble and lots of processing and lots of drama. So I'm not always engaging with the shadow, but that response, when I look at a woman who is really, really pissed, really, really angry, and you just stay calm and you say, you're so, so beautiful and incredible. It's like it takes presence and focus to be able to do that, because most men would be shattered by the projection of shadows in their field. I hope that makes sense. Another question? Yes, so go to vitalcoaching.com. This is my website. This is the best way. This is where I have like 20 years of resources. I started creating content 20 years ago on this platform, on vitalcoaching.com. And more specifically, I posted a link in the chat over here. You go to vitalcoaching.com/master-her-shadows. And yeah, over there I have videos, I have access to coaching. If you want to work one-on-one with me, of course, I offer coaching sessions. And yeah, lots of resources. When it comes to, I have articles on that topic as well. So I'm just going to give you a hint over here. A few years back when I was exploring that, I started writing. One of the articles was 20 shadow outbreaks you might project on you. And first it was 20, and I kept adding shadow outbreaks and noticing things that women can do to men to manipulate them, attack them, challenge them, and so on. And now the article is 317 shadow attacks that a woman might project on you. It means that there is a lot of refinement in the diversity and the possibilities of the things that might challenge you, and she will try, to trigger you in different ways. And your job is to master those triggers and to be able to navigate them. Sometimes use her power, be like a ninja, be like a martial artist, be like a Aikido master, and be able to play with all that. So, again, the way I approach it is really because that's my life mission. I have to figure it out. This is what I'm meant to do, and I'm diving really deep into it. It's not for everybody, but basically it's a really fascinating topic because there is some mystery there that I find completely fascinating and exciting. Yes, so the simple answer is go back to vitalcoaching.com. There is a lot of resources over there. And by the way, most of it is in free access. I just give my stuff, like I have close to around 2,000 videos on YouTube. I have 5,000 pages of content, about 50 books on my website, tons of audios, 100 different programs. So all that is around life mastery. This is the core. And a lot of it is on Tantra. A lot of it is just the coaching aspect, because that's how I was trained, as a coach. And lots of things on mantras and techniques to use and all that. So if after this call you feel like there are burning questions, feel free to message me also on Messenger. I'm Shiva Rajaya, right, on Facebook. I will post my WhatsApp number there as well if you have any questions. So feel free to reach out and connect. Okay, we've got 5 more minutes, right? So any more questions? Um, the dynamics in a relationship is not like you fix it once and then it's done and then nothing else emerges. So it's more or less it's an ongoing thing. If there is a situation that is unsolved, you have an emotion that is alive and stays there in your field, there is probably something, some form of strategy that you didn't fully tap into, or a perspective or something to look at that you didn't fully see. But the emotional issue might be, I want children, and you don't want children. So the emotional issue of you being angry because your partner doesn't want children, it's like that's a dead end. It means that there is a lack of compatibility on that system, on that level, and you just, you can step out of the field and be like, well, it looks like I need to find another partner if I really want to fulfill my need. So this is a very, a lot of many situations are very simple to solve once you step out of the codependency state and you go like, well, I think I'm just going to let go of my partner because there is a lack of compatibility. If you want to have sex all the time and your partner is not into too much into sensual exchange and sexual and erotic fire, you'll be like, wow, it looks like we are not really compatible sexually, and that's fine, that's okay. So the idea is sometimes you just let go of the relationship or let go of the connection. But a lot of, like most of the times when I have a couple coming into the space and we do coaching and mentoring and exploration of these dynamics, most of the times there are certain techniques that they are not tapping into. It means that there are certain pathways that then I say, well, listen, here, if you try this communication technique, and how does that make you feel? And then suddenly there is a drop in, the tension is released, and then you go back to peace. Or I see them building intensity. One of the partners builds up intensity, and she's like, getting all turned on and activated. And I see the partner completely withdrawing, and I say, well, if instead of withdrawing, just engage and match your energy and see what happens. So I think that there are lots of techniques that you might not tap fully into, and potential resources. So again, if you ask this question, feel free to message me with your situation, and I'll check it with you. By the way, I'm free flowing a lot with giving advice and so on. If I feel like there is something that comes into my field that requires really a deep dive and more understanding, then I will suggest